Well, hello, my soul friends. It's Victoria. To tell you the truth, I looked at the calendar and I was like, oh my gosh, it's the 17th. I was going to do a new moon video a couple days ago. So I had to just stop everything that was in motion for today. Fortunately, I finished meeting with my clients. I haven't had time to really look that much at the astrology, so it's going to be kind of fresh, kind of a intuitive take, which is what I do anyway. So welcome to the Soul Nurture channel. Thank you so much for being with me. And if you're just kind of scrolling on through or clicking on videos here and there, looking for your message, I just invite you to pause with me, and hopefully something that I bring offers something for you. That is my entire intention, to just outreach my heart and soul to those who are out there navigating this human experience, souls navigating this human experience. So the whole idea of this channel is to look with what I call the sacred view, the soul perspective, and to make peace with our human experience, to offer ourselves grace and compassion and each other. So pause with me for a little bit, if you will, and get a cup of tea, a cup of whatever, with the energy as it's been. I wonder what your beverage of choice is today. I'll tell you, it feels like things are heating up. And so I'm going to touch on that. And I'm also going to bring some of my soul work tools, which is primarily my work. I am a transformational hypnotherapist, a soul guide, a Jungian-based spiritual director. And my soul assignment here on earth is to support myself and others in reclaiming our soul potential, nurturing it, and navigating this earth school to the best of our ability to reach to the highest of our possibilities. So if this interests you, please do subscribe to this channel. Like and comment. I offer astrology videos here and there. They seem to be the most popular. I tell you, there's a little temptation, like maybe I should just do astrology videos. But that would be selling out, because I love that you love these videos. I am still learning and unfolding my work with astrology. It's an endless, bottomless pit of learning and growing. I offer you what I can from my perspective, from what I know and what I feel mostly. But I have a lot of other tools, and so I try to weave them into even the astrology conversations. And today we're going to be talking about tending to our soul garden. And I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. So if you're kind of shy and don't want to comment, at the very least, just leave an emoji or step it up and tell me where you're viewing from. Or really take a deep breath and say, I want to be heard and seen on the Soul Nurture channel, and comment. And in particular, I invite you to comment about anything that connects with you. It helps me know that I'm reaching my what I'm called to do here is reaching someone out there, and I love that. And I love all of the comments and private emails I get, and I still have a couple people to reach back to, and I'm so sorry. I got my last video on the eclipse, I got so many requests for 20-minute consultations. I'm just getting caught up. I have, I think, 2 more people to reach out to, and I will get to you, I promise. It's been as hectic for me as I imagine it's been for you, right? All right, so let's take a breath together and just come into this moment. Maybe you're going to place your hands on your heart. And just come into this moment with an opportunity to pause and reflect on what you've been noticing, how you've been feeling, and to just honor this journey of unfolding and evolving and transforming. It's happening whether we engage or not, and to have awareness about it helps us, I think, to better navigate what is. So first of all, I'm going to be talking about the new moon in Taurus, which it seems like, wow, new moon in Taurus, we're almost moving into Gemini season. That's right, it's a late degree new moon, and so we're moving out of Taurus season, which has been a time to, all the Taurus qualities, which we're still tapping into on this new moon. For me, it feels like this new moon is like, okay, like God, the universe is saying, how have you been tending to your life, to your soul, and what I like to call the soul garden? What have you been planning? I meant to say planting, but planning too. What obstacles have you come into? I'll tell you this week, starting yesterday when, let's see, what was it? Well, Jupiter moved into Taurus. And then immediately we had Jupiter square Pluto, which is exact when I'm recording this. But I got so many calls from clients yesterday. So I can always tell how the astrological weather is going to be. I feel it first usually, and I usually feel it a few days out. So I had my meltdown a couple days ago. But then I got a bunch of emails and texts and calls from current clients and past clients saying, could you get me in soon? What's your soonest availability? So I'm sharing that just to say, you're not alone if you've been feeling some turbulence, if you've been feeling like, again, it feels like the heat got turned up. And remember, we're evolving, we're transforming, we're transmuting. This is alchemy, right? The heat gets turned up to transform us into our higher possibilities. It's a matter of how we learn to work with it. And what we do is we look at, well, where are we? What season are we in? Where's the moon? This is our astrological weather, I think, our astrological support system. I was thinking about this today. I was driving and I was thinking, when we feel irritated or frustrated or things aren't going the way we want, this is the highest sculpting of our souls. Think about a pearl and an oyster. How does it become a beautiful pearl? I think it's a grain of sand that gets in the oyster and it's irritating the oyster. And so it's whatever, I don't know the biology of it, but it's coating that grain of sand with something to, let it be less irritating. And I think about these, we can say intense aspects happening as a way to sculpt or polish our souls into our highest and most beautiful possibilities. I hope that helps somebody, because I know that a lot of people are feeling like, what, this again? I'm so frustrated. Why is this happening? And I'd like to invite you, if you are in that why does this keep happening, to shift that question to how is this happening? And if you need to, where is this familiar and what is being revealed to be healed? This is this time right now where, especially with Taurus energy, and there's a lot on this new moon. Let me scroll down to my chart to look at. We've got the sun and the moon, of course, in Taurus. That's what a new moon is. They're conjunct at 28 degrees of Taurus. We have Mercury, which, by the way, also Mercury just came out of retrograde. We're still kind of in the wobble or the shadow of that, the post shadow of that. So this is where you may still have some glitches here and there, some delays here and there, but the things that we were meant to review and maybe, the Mercury retrograde, we could feel frustrated because things don't seem to work the way we want to. Well, retrogrades, especially Mercury retrograde, it's closer to the Earth. We feel it more. Was a time to review. And in Taurus, how are we doing with our security, our stability, what we value, what our material possessions, our shelter, and reviewing also relationships. Taurus is connected to Venus, right? So how have our relationships been going? And we just moved out of eclipse season, which brought a lot of sudden and unexpected endings and sudden and ending new beginnings, and both, right? And unexpected, when we say, oh, I didn't expect that, I didn't see that coming, I always feel, I should say, that our soul knew. Our soul, okay, yeah, I didn't want this, I didn't plan on this, but then if you connect with your soul and you ask, and especially if you've been going through a really difficult sudden shift, ask yourself, what have I been visioning for or desiring that wasn't in my job or my relationship or whatever you got moved out of. Maybe you were living somewhere and you suddenly have to move. Yeah, here's the thing. We're creatures of comfort and routine and patterns, especially during Taurus season. So to be offset during Taurus season when all we want to do is nest and get into the groove of our security and building a life, and we got possibly displaced from those plans. If you watch some of my previous videos, I was kind of gearing you towards this time. I was inviting you through the eclipse season, and it's not too late. It's never too late to reset and do the thing you've been called to do, which was, I think, purging everything that no longer serves who you're trying to purge to emerge, like I kept saying. And because a lot of times we become unconsciously set in a way of being that's connected to our programming, which is connected to how we survived when we were kids, that is not allowing us to thrive, right? I got to tell you a cool thing that's happening because I've got a timer on with my video. Every time I'm really looking up and looking at the time, it's been, I'm not kidding, 3:33. I looked up at 5:55 and I just looked at 11:11. So maybe this is an extra blessed video. Our angels are with us. So anyway, back to all this Taurus energy. Taurus also in Uranus, of course. This has been the great disruptor, but Uranus is the great evolutionary planet trying to disrupt, to evolve. So also in Taurus. And then Jupiter just went into Taurus, okay? So this Taurus energy, is there something else? Oh, hello. How did I forget the North Node? It's still in Taurus, the node of destiny. So all this Taurus energy, which is going to be shifting. I mean, the moon or the sun is going into Gemini on May 21st. And we have another big shift on May 20th. And then as Mars moves out of Cancer into Leo, which is setting us up for a grand cross. So yeah, there's some energy here. Okay. So how are you feeling? How did you feel during Mercury season, retrograde, and eclipse season? What significant changes happened for you? Or where did you feel like, I have this image of running to jump in the lake and you're like, nope, not yet, don't want to jump. But you're called to jump into something new and you froze out of fear, or you got stubborn about that shift, or because I'm thinking of the Taurus energy. It's like run forward to your possibilities is like the call during eclipse season. But because we're in Taurus season, this is where we could feel stubborn or fixed energy. This is Taurus, right? Fixed energy. And that can prevent us from moving forward. Now, the beauty of Taurus, and I want to cover some of this because the energy is so big on the new moon, especially Jupiter now in Taurus. So Jupiter hasn't been in Taurus for 12 years. The last time it was 12 years ago. It moves through each sign. It'll be in Taurus for a year, so each sign for a year at a time. So think back what you were doing 12 years ago. Where were you? What was happening in your life? I think Jupiter is just such a, and powerful and huge influence on us, especially where it lands in your natal chart, what house it's in. So take a peek and look at where Taurus is in your chart, and also think about where you were 12 years ago, because it may be called back to that, and some of you may be having your Jupiter returns, which is a really blessed time. And for Taurus people in general, Taurus or sun or moon or rising in particular, Jupiter in Taurus now is about to come and bless you. It not only comes and expands what's not working or expands whatever you're working on, it'll also offer up a beautiful blessing. So Jupiter in Taurus, and still the sun and moon in Taurus on this new moon. This is, again, Taurus is about comfort and security and practical measures and stability. And So this is really up for a lot of us. How, especially, if you're watching the news, which I invite you to watch the news to just get a kind of a checkpoint. Okay. But do not empower the news. Empower a vision beyond the fear news, right? Okay, like one of my teachers, Reverend Michael, would say, that's just your prayer report. And especially for Taurus people, my Taurus friends out there, and during Taurus season, we became more aware of how is my security? What's going to happen? Where am I? And this can create in our human experience a lot of fear. So this is about, I think, with this new moon in Taurus, and let me just talk about a few other aspects, and then I'm going to get back to Taurus, because there's a lot going on, friends. Jupiter square Pluto, did I mention that already? This can feel like intense energy. It can really feel like a push to get to something you've been denying, or it's been in the shadow, or you were disempowered and you're trying to empower yourself to make a change. Squares are a call to take action. Take action on behalf of your transformation, on behalf of your potential and your purpose and your passion. Okay. So, yep. Let's see. Gosh, where to go? There's so many different things to talk about here. All right. I'm going to just stay with Taurus for just a moment, and then I'm going to talk to you about the soul garden idea. Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just taking this in because remember I told you I didn't really have time to look at this. We're moving towards a fixed grand cross, which will happen after Mars enters Taurus. So just think about the language of that fixed grand cross. It sounds intense. Just saying it. Fixed energy is the challenge there, in that, again, we can get immobilized with being stuck with old ways of being, because we think it's connected to security, and yet we cannot move forward to our potential if we allow fear to say this is the only way. And fixed energy can do that to us. It's like, oh no, this is the only way. It's the way I've always done it. I can't think of any other way to do it. Or we get into that either or thinking, either stay here or, gosh, I don't know what's going to happen there. New moons, remember, when there's a new moon, it's the beginning, the start of the lunation cycle. It is the time where we say, okay, we take a deep breath and we say, what is my intention? What seeds do I want to plant of possibilities? How do you know what to plant? How do you know what to cultivate? What's not working? What do you need? And I always invite people to first plant the seeds of the qualities you need. If you're in fear, what do you need? What is the remedy for fear? Trust, faith. I want you to imagine you're going to be planting trust and faith in your soul garden. What then does that look like? What then does that feel like? And what will be different when you root yourself in faith and trust, even though it feels like, individually and collectively, we're still going through our birthquakes. And think about, chaos and challenge or intensity as movement. And you may think, well, it's not moving me where I want to go. This is where we have faith in the universe or God, and trust that you are being moved or rebirthed in fulfillment of your soul potential and possibilities. And it may not feel like it at times. I know, believe me, I know. It may feel like, why am I still doing this? Why am I still here? I wanted to be there. I wanted to be doing that. Moving our feet as we continue to vision, but mostly holding faith and mostly cultivating within us what we seek out there. So, okay. So my idea for a soul garden, which I want to invite you to, and maybe I'll do an imagery for this because it's something I do with my clients a lot. I want you to think about vision for the life you want. And we've been this whole year visioning, especially during those 2 new moons in Aries, visioning for something new, something that you wanted to initiate in your life, something that your soul had been calling you to, but you didn't feel brave enough or had the courage to do. So I want you to imagine that inside of you, where our inner world mirrors the external world, we need to cultivate that foundation. So using this garden metaphor, first of all, what do we need to do? If you're a gardener out there, you got to dig up the weeds, right? You got to dig out the rocks and the things that are not conducive to good soil. So what are the weeds? Our negative thoughts. They grow faster than what we're trying to plant, don't they? Especially when we are in transition times, or especially when there's a lot of overwhelm, we go into our default programming, which is usually negative and not supportive. Or I've been using with my clients a lot, saying we go back to our old neighborhood where we learned all of our negative beliefs and patterns in order to survive. Instead of keeping our stake in the ground of the new neighborhood, we want to grow into. And grow is such a key word for this potential of this new moon in Taurus. Where do you want to grow? What possibilities? What potential? What goals? What opportunities? Well, I invite you to first grow inner security, inner stability, all the qualities of Taurus, inner self-worth, valuing yourself, not things. We have that backwards. We value things, just happened again, 21. We value things in order to feel valuable. I feel like what's happening right now is to reset us all to our soul, to our true natures, to get that straightened out. It's soul and self and purpose that we need to value, and others' souls and being and what they contribute. Less about the things and more about the beings. Okay, this is just coming fresh, guys, because I don't know what I want to talk about. So imagine how many of you out there are gardeners, because I invite you, if you do garden, it's really awesome to do this in an actual physical way. Designate part of your garden and call it your soul garden. And then go get some pretty seeds, or get some seeds for pretty flowers that you love. And designate each packet of seeds. Say you're going to plant sunflowers. What qualities do you want the sunflowers to represent for you? For me, sunflowers represent joy and optimism. I definitely want that in my soul garden, right? So you plant these plants or flowers or food, and you empower the seed with the quality you want to grow in yourself. I could tell you a story about a sunflower a long time ago, but it would take too long. This came to me years ago, and I'll just tell you quickly. My godson, Keaton, when I moved to Squim, my friend Lorraine stopped by my house with cute Keaton. I think he was in kindergarten. And was he 6 years old? And he had a little sunflower sprout in a little cup. And they visited me. I was new to town. I had just moved on May 7th. And so it was somewhere in May. Came by with this little sprouted sunflower. And he left it there. And I called Lorraine. I said, oh, Keaton left his sunflower sprout here. And she said, oh, you go ahead and plant it. Now, I had moved into a new town. I'd left everything I knew behind. This story is appropriate. Okay. I love when they pop up like, where is this going? How's this fitting? Because we have been leaving behind everything familiar, individually and collectively, in order to grow new potential. So the story, I hope, resonates with you. And I didn't know anyone except for Lorraine and her kids, but she was busy, and I just was trying to get my bearings in this new town I was in. And this little seedling became my little, symbiotic, how am I doing, right? And I got a little container to put it in and potted it, and I wasn't never gardened. And the seedling was, I'm tending to it, I'm taking care of it, and it seemed like when I wasn't doing well, it wasn't doing well. And I was just like, we got to make it, little sunflower. So I really took such good care of this. I got a different plant, got better soil, right? Pulled out the weeds that were popping up. And then I'll never forget, it was, so I don't know, like a month later, it was growing and growing, and it was just about to bud. And at that time, it was budding, it was a bud, and it was about to blossom, is what I wanted to say. I had made such a shift. I met someone that I was feeling a lot of love for, and my life was starting to like grow in this new town that I had transplanted myself. So I'm saying this story because some of you may feel transplanted out of what you knew, and you've yet to drop your roots, and you've yet to bud, and you've yet to blossom. And that is a hard place to grow. But this is where faith and trust keeps you growing, okay? So I'll never forget, I was running a women's group that during that time. And I looked at that blossoming flower, and I was like, thank you, God. Thank you. I am finally feeling rooted, finally feeling like I can grow my potential here. And I went to the women's group, and I walked in, and a couple of the women were like, what's going on with you? You look so good. You look so happy. You look like you're blossoming. I'm not kidding. Someone said that. And I was like, yeah, we are. I mean, I am. I mean, I was thinking, yeah, we are the sunflower and I. So just give yourself grace. If, you know, your soil is still, you're still having to weed, and you're still having to pull some rocks out, it's not too late. You know, like have you ever been, if you are a gardener, like, oh gosh, it's spring's almost over and it's almost summer and I forgot to get that in the ground and it's too late. No, it's not too late. It's never too late to till your soil, pull the weeds, move those rocks, those obstacles, perceived or real, out of your way, and plant your seeds that represent the life you want to grow and the person you want to grow and become and cultivate. So I hope this makes sense. I think, you know, it'll connect with those it's meant to. Curious what you'll plant in your garden. Again, remember the foundational qualities you want: faith, trust, stability, security. What else is our foundational qualities? Abundance, you know. And you might even put little, you know, like when you plant your seeds, usually we can put little cards out like sunflowers. Underneath the sunflowers, write an affirmation. I am growing joy and optimism. Under something that represents stability, I am growing stability and security. I am growing abundance. I am growing. Okay? This is the invitation of this new moon, my soul friends. You may feel stuck. You may feel like I keep hitting this old, you know, rock in my soil, my garden that I'm trying to grow. It's not growing. Yeah, I know. We got to keep tending the soil. And guess what, too? I have to swear with this one. All the shit you've been going through, that's your compost, my friends. That's your compost. So for everything that's been challenging, for everything that's felt shitty or frustrating or limiting, just think you've got a lot of good, fertile compost to start with to help your soil grow your soul potential. Okay, my friends, I hope this was helpful for you. I love showing up to be with you all, and in being with you, I'm with myself too. And we're in this growing, unfolding together, right? So thanks again. Subscribe if you haven't. Comment as much as you want. There's no limitations. In fact, I really was working with a client earlier, encouraging her and myself to, when you're limited and stuck, which we may have felt like for a while now, to expand into higher possibilities. Tell a new story. What else? Try on expanded vision. What that would feel like, look like. So no limits. Comment as much as you want, okay? And also do comment about future topics. And if I go live, what would you like me to cover? Okay, or I should say when I go live next, because I plan on it. All right, take good care of your beautiful soul, nurture your potential, and expand your possibilities with trust and faith. And soon you will be growing and growing those possibilities, and not only growing, but blossoming. And that, my friends, is worth all of it. Okay, take good care. I'll see you next time. All my love. Bye-bye.